Hello, everyone. I'm Roy Steinberg, the producing artistic director here at Cape May Stage, and I'm so grateful you could join us. You know, this COVID-19 has created all kinds of situations where people all over the world are kind of cooped up in their homes. And I've gone a little stir crazy. I don't know about you, but one of the things I've done to kind of help me along the way, one of my hobbies is I love to cook. And so I found a recipe for the quarantine stew. So get out a pad and pencil or your electronic tablets and write this down, because it's nothing quite as meditative as cooking. It might be the only thing that's keeping me sane right now. And this hearty stew serves 5, which is perfect for my current household. There's me and my cat, my 2 porcelain dolls that have begun speaking to me, and my porcelain doll that is currently not speaking to me due to a misunderstanding. So the prep time is about 30 minutes or a few days. I mean, what's the difference? So the ingredients are 3 bottles red wine, 1 pound of beef, or you can substitute ice cream, 6 teaspoons of vegetable oil, 7 teaspoons of vegetable oil, if you're feeling a little naughty, and there's 2 bay leaves, 2 Lexapro tablets crushed, 3½ cups of beef broth. You may substitute ice cream, some carrots, onions, or whatever you got, it doesn't matter. So, preparation. Wash the onions to make sure they're clean. Everything must be clean. Scrub them vigorously under scalding hot water with Lysol or bleach. Then drink first bottle of red wine. Place the beef or ice cream in a large pot. Turn the news on, see a headline, immediately turn the news off. You don't need that right now. So cook the beef until it is brown on all sides. While doing this, sing Stephen Sondheim's "Send in the Clowns" to yourself loudly. Puzzle over why you're only vocalizing now once you're in a quarantine, that you could have pursued singing professionally. Isn't that right? The onions, add them to the pot. Wait, those aren't onions, they're apples. They've been apples this whole time. Is there that big a difference between an apple and an onion anyway? Anyway, slice the apples and add them to the pot. Call your parents. Tell them that you are a chef now. Let them know that they should call you chef because that's your new name. Learn that your parents left the house today to deposit a check in the bank, even though they are both over 60. Yell at them until they're all sobbing and hang up the phone. Simmer. Add cilantro to the pot. To you, cilantro tastes like soap, but who cares? It's the end of the world. Hey, add some real soap too. Take everything else that's still in the produce drawer and throw it in the air. Whatever lands in your stew is now part of the stew. Life is random and cruel, so you too and your stew shall be random and cruel. Now reduce the heat, drink 4th bottle of 2nd bottle of red wine. Feel offended that your cat is mocking you. Your cat is mocking your cooking abilities. Tell your cat that you're under a lot of pressure right now, that you're not going to get any stew if she calls you a Philistine again. It's hurtful. Almost forgot the bay leaves. Add them to your mouth. They taste very weird. Eat the rest of the bay leaves in the pantry and also the paprika. Now, receive a text message from your parents about your fight from those 3 days ago. Hold on. How long have you been cooking this stew for? It's almost done. Now, cover the pot for 10 minutes or until you feel like taking the lid off and wearing it as a little hat. Or your new hat feels extremely hot on your head. Ladle stew among 5 bowls while calling your parents back and telling them that you love them. To taste. Bon appetit. Your stew is all done. Put some clothes on and enjoy. Now that you have that recipe, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what we in the theater have been doing during this pandemic to prepare for the new world we're in. And we've had to change some of our text a little bit. Normally, we're not allowed to change anything. But I found this piece from a play that's in the public domain, Romeo and Juliet. And so I'd like to just read a tiny, tiny portion for you. It's called With a Kiss, I Die. And it starts off with a quote, actually. I'd like to quote the president, the current president of Actors Equity. And this is Kate. And Kate Schindel, she wrote, "There's no such thing as social distancing for actors. You cannot prevent contact. That is just not the way our industry works." And she's right. I mean, in theater, we do kissing and yelling at each other, and spittle comes out of our mouths. So here's a rewritten scene. It's at the Capulets orchard. Juliet appears at a window. But soft. What light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. 'Tis not the yondest window I've ever seen. In truth, I fear 'tis not quite yond enough. The distance, by my reckoning, is fine, being thrice the span of my outstretched arm. The real problem here is one of height, with me down here and her up there and all. 'Tis my lady. Oh, it is my love. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? I actually prefer that she keep stumm, because though I am loath to criticize this maid that o'ershines the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that Juliet be far more fair than she, the silly dope cannot come out without a mask. Were she to sneeze, or worse still, blow her nose, whose tiny tilt and rare perfection ne'er shall beg the rhinoplaster's careful arts. I might lie just inside a mucus range. By Cupid, was this sacred law begot? Thy love is deeper than thou lovest, not snot. That's better. Ah, my sweet, his eyes in heaven, with through the airy region streams so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. But see how she leans, a cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek. Not literally. Wrong story. Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Long story. My old man was keen on Dwayne, but Mom liked Romeo because it sounded tough, rocky, Montague, right? And in the end, they compromised, so Romeo it was. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name, which smells sweet. It is true, and yet is smelling anything a good idea when e'en the gods themselves, obeying guidelines, choose to chicken out when bending low to take a mortal sniff? And how canst thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb. With love's light wings did I o'er-perch these walls. For stony limits cannot hold love out. Also there are arrows, freshly daubed, that show the old aerial climber where to go along the way en route in case you meet another suitor keen to abseil down. By whose direction foundst thou out this place? My love, that first did prompt me to inquire, and then the traffic being as sparse as hairs upon a boyish chin, by Uber, lovely guy who swore that every inch was sanitized, I gelled my palms before I buckled up. Thou knowest the mask of night is on thy face, else would a maiden blush to paint my cheek. For that which thou hast heard me speak tonight, fain would I dwell on form. Faith, fain deny what I have spoke. All right, I get the feints, but when you say the mask of night, is that an actual mask, or that weird clayey thing which the Duke of L'Oreal does add, a glow of nourishment to visages already infant soft? In faith, my love, to show thyself upon a balcony, sans mask is sure to contravene the law. And dost thou love me? Though I be unmasked, lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear. Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circled orb. What shall I swear by? Do not swear at all. So make your mind up, dearest heart. I have no way of this contract forthright. It's too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning, which doth cease to be ere one can say its likeness. If you mean, have I been quarantined, the answer is yes. And let me tell you something, isolating with the Montagues for the length of time that stretched me as far as I can, like a torturous rock. No vaccine, though it were distilled within, the chambers of our learned friar could cure a fortnight with my Uncle Lou. Good night. Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied? What satisfaction canst thou have tonight? Kiss? Give me a break. No kissing here. Now, dummy, till the breath of next year's spring shall green once more upon the wintered bough. If then the closest to a kiss, then we may come, would be to don full visors and to clash adoringly skin to knights who meet and strike their anxious armor in the jest. Forgive me, what exactly dost thou crave? The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine. Okay, done. How about an elbow bump? No, not easy from down here. What else you got? My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. The nurse calls. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay a little. I will come again. She exits. Did she say nurse? Forsooth, what gives up there? Who is this that doth need of physic's care? Those damned super-spreading Capulets, I wouldn't put it past them to have coughed all over every other clan in town. Juliet re-enters. 3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow. Madam, I come. 1,000 times good night. She exits. 1,000 times the worst who want my light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love toward school with heavy looks. There's a pause. Not that anyone doth go to school or glance at books when learning is remote. A generation ruined kids these days. Juliet re-enters. Romeo, it's... Oh, for the falconer's voice to lure this tasseled gentle back again. I'm sorry, what? His horse, and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave whose echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine, with repetition of my Romeo's name. Whate'er thy wooing speech may mean, 'tis hot. I like the sound of echo. Call her up, but really bondage? Would you say that's wise when handshakes are a no-no and a hug is no more welcome than the biting asp? Is leather biological? I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird who lets it hop a little from her hand, and with a silk thread plucks it back again. Count me in. I would I could so hop. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow. She exits. Sleep well. Upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest. And don't forget to wash thy hands. Adieu. Well, that went well. I haven't got a clue how often I should venture thus. Desire that urged me here, something ever higher towards the dew, black-lipped of Juliet. Wherefore to sip with souls entwined, and yet one drop envenomed might our bodies kill as we make out across the windowsill. Why feed the fever of my spirit when infection rates are off the charts again? Love is a sickness, as the sages say. Coronavirus gets you either way. He exits, following the wrong arrow. He re-enters, cursing. Exit. Well, this is our new version of Romeo and Juliet. But you know, this isn't the first time that humanity's had to deal with a plague. 1918, we all know from history, we dealt with the Spanish plague, and way back in the 1300s was the Black Plague. And here we have a short scene. It's called Small Talk in 1348. Good morrow, neighbor. How are you looking in your thatched cottage? Holding up? What is the meaning of that? I mean, how are you faring in this arduous time of the Black Death? Oh, that's an interesting way to say it. I just invented the expression. You like it? How are you holding up? Yes, it is harmonious to the ear. Should we use it to each other each time we speak during this plague? I do not see why not. It is most congenial. But what if we tire of the expression and of answering it after a few hundred years? Should we devise an alternative? How about, I hope this salutation finds you well. Very good. Although it's anyone truly well during a plague? You are correct. No one except perhaps those who possess a remote castle by the white cliffs of Dover. What if we add, or as well as anyone can be these days? Yes. And if the salutation is rendered on a Friday or a Monday, and some mention of the end of the week that is about to take place, or has just occurred as expected, one might add, whatever, an end to the week is these days. Because the days are so like one another that the end of the week is hardly different from the middle of the week. And it's just so it's phenomenal that we measure so precisely by the shadow of the sun on the dial, and the town square has ceased to mean anything. I know. This barley season has felt like rye season sometimes. Yeah, when I feel a craving for mead, but it's just too early for the eve. I say to my wife in jest, well, the shadow is angling downward on a dial somewhere. I made the same jest when I too was desirous of some ale, but I have not yet plowed my fields for the required 16 hours. After a discussion of time such as this, a body can ask if the other body has seen any good morality plays lately. I certainly have. At times, I've feasted on 3 morality plays in succession. My children have a saying for it: morality plays and idleness. And I thought I would be using this time to learn to read. I too. Instead, I have attempted the new recipes for gruel that the town crier has shouted. When I prepare a gruel that is especially pleasing to the eye, I ask Garrett the weaver to capture its essence in a tapestry, which I then unfurl outside my thatched cottage, so that others may admire it. I am innocent of the sin of pride, because I am not depicted in the tapestry myself, only the gruel. I've seen and liked your gruel tapestries. I did not know you liked them, but never indicated so. Have I not? I'm sorry. I liked them. Which ones? Well, just all of them, really. 5 on 1348. And we thought 1347 was bad. Strange times. Rouse me from my slumber when it is the 1350s. I am in disbelief that of all kings to rule over the Black Death, we are cursed with Edward III. I would take Edward II right now. All right. Who are you? And what have you done with Alwyn the Plowman? As if what I said does not accord with my character, and therefore, despite all appearances, I must not be Alwyn the Plowman, but instead someone who has disposed of his body and assumed his likeness. A most amusing jest. I just invented it. Did you hear? Edward III said that As leeches may cure the plague when applied to the skin, healers should also put them inside the body. You must have a secret investment in leech gathering. That's the only explanation. There's a silence. Well, I'll let you go back inside your thatched cottage. So next week, same shadow angle on the sundial. Very busy next week, but we shall find a shadow angle soon. Stay pale out there. You too, whatever out there means these days. And that's some archaic sounding language. Now, the words have kind of changed during this pandemic. There's some new words I'd never heard. And I thought I'd share some of my favorite ones with you. This is called Lexicon for a Pandemic. For example, have you heard the word mask hole? A mask hole is an individual who wears a mask in a way that makes it completely ineffective, like below the nose, under the chin, on the back of the head. And then there's face naked. That's the state of facial expression that occurs when an individual declines to wear a mask in public. For example, Pence went all face naked to the Mayo Clinic. And then body mullet. Body mullet. The 19 minutes after a too close interaction with a maskless stranger, during which you experience a thickness in your throat and a certainty that you're dying. This sometimes lasts longer if frantic hand washing, antiseptic gangling, and gargling, and especially planning are not readily available. A new word called over distancing. Yeah, that's when the guy in front of you in line has a metric understanding of the 6 feet in 6 feet, allowing 20 feet to open up between him and the next person in line, which then allows others to interpret that next person as the end of the line, and so cuts in front of you. Then there's domino distancing. Now, domino distancing is where the person behind you in line stands too close, causing you to crowd the person in front of you and on until everyone dies. There's the emotional distancing. Emotional distancing is deciding that now really isn't the time to make big decisions about a relationship, or for that matter, to have a conversation about it. Emotional distancing. There's the Stockholm Syndrome, the assumption that everyone would be just fine without any government restrictions. Someday, none day, whose day, blur's day, why day, those are the days of the week. Parenting, the ability to figure out why the PlayStation isn't working with the Wi-Fi. Baby Zoom. Morphine. It's finding your own image on a group video call so unappealing that you're unable to focus on anything else. Quarantine. The minimum number of family members necessary to decide what you want to watch on TV. Flattening the curve, trying to fit into your jeans about 3 months after 3 months of sweatpants. And germaphobe, formerly crazy people, Howard Hughes, now everybody except crazy people, and going viral. It's no longer used. It's a word we no longer use. Well, one of the things that we've had to decide about is sending your kids back to school. Should you homeschool? Should you take the risk of having them get infected or bringing COVID-19 back into the home? And so I'd like to read this little bit. It's called Visual Freshman Orientation. Welcome, freshmen, to your first year at William McKinley Virtual High School, even in the midst of a global pandemic. We're committed to providing you with a classic all-American high school experience online. At McKinley Virtual High, education comes first, In math, you will learn the principles of geometry. The four walls of your bedroom form a rectangle. No point in learning the other shapes. For science class, you will engage in the global race for COVID-19 vaccine. Sure, it's unlikely that the cure in dog food mixed with Clearasil, but scientific method says you have to test everything, except drinking bleach. Science says you should never drink bleach. Socially distanced PE will look a little different. This year, students will have to pummel themselves with dodgeballs. If you wear glasses, you must leave them on. It's all part of the educational experience. To simulate the locker room environment, you will split into 2 Zoom breakout rooms, one for girls and one for boys, and get naked. Our lawyers have assured me that this is both legal and a cherished part of high school. For those of you who are self-conscious about your changing bodies, please know that you are not normal. You are not only the ones who have ever looked like that. Oh boy, normal. And you'll see, in lieu of a school gym uniform, please change into whatever clothes make your body look lumpiest. High school is about social life. Even in virtual high school, you will quickly find new friends and establish social circles. But some things will be a little different. I mean, drama kids, well, the school's production of Our Town has been canceled. You'll be happy to know that all of you got the lead role. Debate team, you will now be holding practice sessions in the view section of the Amazon.com. Resolve, the Sleep Tech 2009 is an imperfect mattress pad. Popular kids, don't worry, even though the small window into your lives where a webcam provides, we can still tell you're rich. Some of you always were. This is really your time, and since we won't be able to find out who would have been the kid whose rolling backpack runs over everyone's feet, please just raise your hand now. Thanks, I had a hunch it was you. I know that virtual high school must be a disappointment. Many of you had big plans for this year. Some of you were going to find instruments in detention with students from a different background. After a series of comical misunderstandings and a dance montage, you would have learned to like, maybe even love one another. This will no longer be possible. Detention will be virtual too. You will all watch a 9-hour video about corn. One of you is going to be crowned homecoming queen, only to break the tiara into dozens of pieces and share it with the entire class. I cannot emphasize enough how unsanitary that is. Still, others were going to connect with an ambitious young English teacher from another walk of life who would have shown you that poetry is just like rap, and that though the written words you could transcend your background, and maybe next year. And if you were planning to take off your glasses and reveal that you're actually been hot from the whole time, please sign up for a time slot. When you all do it at the same time, it doesn't work. And as you imagine yourselves stepping through the doors of William McKinley Virtual High, think of our namesake, a president who did not live through the pandemic of 1918, since he was shot in the chest in 1901. What a lucky break. I can't wait to see all of you at graduation. Maybe. If you're getting a little tired of being looking at the screen, me too. But I have my final piece I want to read for you is a piece about how to reduce screen time. You know, we at Cape May Stage have all kinds of wonderful programs. We've had new plays that we've been reading. We've done readings of our favorite plays that were suggested by you. We've had a talk show. We have amazing cabaret artists. But sometimes, I must say, even I tire of looking at a screen. So in today's hyper-connected world, it sometimes feels as though our devices are controlling us instead of the other way around. Setting limits has become a real challenge. So how can you manage your screen time and find a healthy balance? It's simple. You just try Rocco. Rocco is an unhinged ex-bouncer who smacks your devices right out of your hands. First off, Rocco is like crazy big. He's got bowling ball biceps and competes in contests where lumberjacks throw logs. No matter how much you want to check Twitter, we guarantee that you won't be able to get your tablet back from Rocco. With his help, you'll come to realize that sneaking one last YouTube video isn't worth getting slapped off the toilet. You may be asking, doesn't Roscoe have to go home sometimes? No! Not since his wife kicked him out for having an affair with the cashier at the GNC where he buys muscle milk. Now, he got somewhere to be, but in your face, scanning at you, and he'll tell you to turn off Shark Tank. Rocco will not leave, even if you ask him to. That's how dedicated he is. You don't even have to pay him. He's good to go as long as you put a roof over his head and you keep a loop of chicken cutlets coming. And he doesn't even need a real bed. He's fine, but just up on the sofa and sleeping on the floor. He always puts them back in the morning. Rocco needs this. Excessive screen time can affect your sleeping patterns, even worse than Rocco's groaning during his regular night squats. It can also put a damper on your mood, which will already be strained by Rocco's headbutting your mirrors because he's mad that his pecs got soft. Studies have shown media usage stimulates the same regions of the brain that drugs and alcohol do. This is insidious and intentional, but Rocco has your back. Just say the word and he'll burst into your Facebook headquarters and start decking coders. He's itching to body slam Google's brain trust. For any customers who are unsatisfied with the experience of using Rocco, there's still the option of upgrading to Becca. Becca will read your Kindle over your shoulder, and if you get self-conscious, and turns it off. While standing there, she will frequently ask you how to pronounce words, and her Dorito breath on your neck will turn your stomach. Or you can switch to Garrett, who will crash your laptop by downloading pornography from already torrent sites. The tech repair guy won't even be able to look you in the eye. Once you've finally got your digital habits under control, you can start to rediscover the real world. There's nothing like that feeling of human connection that you get from witnessing half a dozen cops drag Rocco out of your house as he thrashes and tries to bite their shins. The ruckus will definitely alarm your neighbors. Some of them may even stop by to ask what all that was about. Who knows? You might just have to make a new friend. And deep down, that's all Rocco ever really wanted for you. Thanks, Rocco. So with Rocco's help and advice, I'm going to say farewell for the moment. And when you've gathered your resources, I hope to see you back again. Bye for now.